exciting video for me, at least, because it gives a chance to revisit all of the rumors we have talked about and even some we might have skipped over before we get to this week's Nintendo Direct. No, not every single rumor under the sun is going to be in here. As an example, we do not talk about all the stuff about Ocarina of Time remake. It's unfortunate that we don't, but the reality is that I don't really find it to be that likely to be in this Direct. That is something that I expect more next year during Zelda's 40th anniversary to possibly get announced. But when we're talking about this year, and we're talking about this week's supposed Direct, we first have to go over all the people that are talking about the Direct actually being this month. Then we have to go over all the actual games that have been rumored over the last year that haven't been announced yet that could actually be in this Direct. This is not a video that's aiming to tell you that these are all the games that are going to be in this week's Direct. These are just possibilities, and just it's fun at times, since we've covered all of this stuff in the past, to actually revisit it before we get to this Direct, just to see if any of it comes true. This video is meant to be for fun. You are meant to be highly skeptical of all these rumors, and also be sure to enter a giveaway. That's right, we are giving away 2 games of choice, so 2 winners each get to choose a game of choice, either for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC, or obviously Switch or Switch 2. It's standard edition games. You have to be 18 or older to enter. Head down to the link in the pinned comment or the description. And also, there's an extra giveaway going down there for 5 4-day passes for PAX West. We actually teamed up with PAX West, me and the Nintendo Byte podcast. We all got together. We teamed up with them. We're giving away 5 4-day passes for that. We'll put a link down there as well. And this time, I won't actually forget to add the link to the pinned comment and the description. I forgot to add it last time. All right, let's go ahead and dive in here and start with all the rumors that are about a Direct even happening this week. First off, we have Attack the Backlog all the way back on July 9th. But actually, if you look at him, this is all the way back on July 7th. But here is the big one. This is all the way back on June 11th. So on June 11th, he said a few weeks ago, rumors of a June Direct were circling. I heard then from just a single source that it was July, not June. They've told me again, it's July, not June, and another Direct in September. As I say, I've only had it confirmed from a single source, but let's see so far. Now, that's really, really interesting. He also notes here that I was told July back in June and told last week of July on Monday. And he brings this up here, you know, last week of July, etc., etc., etc. So Attack the Backlog was one of our very first people to actually come forward with this stuff. Obviously, then we have Nintendo Talk over here on June 21st. Again, going in order, June 11th, now June 21st. Nintendo Talk says, per my sources, a June Nintendo Direct unlikely. July is the month. Third-party blowout. And it's the same source that told him about the January Switch 2 reveal, which obviously was real and did happen. We covered that back then. Then we obviously get to Nate the Hate. Now, he technically did this on his podcast, and I'll put a link down to his podcast down below, but this is where he reaffirmed it. He did it over on Extra. Someone said, is the Direct still happening in July? And he says, to my knowledge. And he speculated it would be the last week of July on his podcast. He didn't know. He just knew it was going to be after Donkey Kong Bonanza. Then we get to this, Video Game Chronicle. Now, this is actually a kind of a double whammy because Metroid Prime 4 has been rated. This leads to expectations of Metroid Prime 4 appearing in the Direct, although I think a lot of people have those expectations anyways. But this is right here. According to reports, Nintendo is planning to hold a Nintendo Direct stream imminently, which matches with what Video Game Chronicle has heard from sources, where it's likely to announce an official release date for Prime 4. Okay, so you can see we're almost done going through all this stuff, and then we get to Christopher Dring saying, sounds like next week's Direct is going to be a big chunky one. Now, you might be going, okay, that's really cool. He's hearing about a Direct as well. It's going to be a chunky one. Okay, what about beat 'em ups? Remember, you spent all this time talking about beat 'em ups. Well, I wanted to save him for last because he actually attached game rumors to his July Direct thing. Go back here a month ago, popular YouTuber beat 'em ups claims there will be a Nintendo Direct next month. And this is where the game rumors begin. Metaphor Refantasio, GameCube Shadow Drop, Pokemon Coliseum, which we did not get Pokemon Coliseum Shadow Drop during the Pokemon Presents, so that is definitely on the table, and we already know that is coming because Nintendo's already shown it. Death Stranding Director's Cut S, Witcher 3, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, Metroid Prime 4 release date, and the one more thing at the end is going to be Isabelle with a teaser for Animal Crossing 2026. Again, that is the beat 'em up stuff, which is, you know, in hindsight, starting to look like more and more plausible, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, this is something that isn't necessarily related to a leak of a game, but it makes it likely, or at least seem likely, to speculate that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 could be coming and might get announced in this direct. Metroid Prime 1 to 3 visual novel. It's a retrospective. This is an official one. It's been delayed to October 28th. We don't know why it's been delayed, but that does lead to speculation, obviously, about Metroid Prime 2 and 3 getting released before Metroid Prime 4, potentially. All right, now we're jumping back a year. This is a year ago because Monolith Soft's been working on something crazy. We got to talk about Project Legacy. So I was told a few months ago that Monolith Soft is developing a project with the codename Legacy. And this project is in development at Nintendo. Obviously, this is a Monolith Soft project. And look, we don't know what Legacy is. We don't know what Monolith Soft's been working on since they wrapped up DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, besides their team that works with a bunch of people. But it's still noteworthy, of course, that they're clearly working on something. I just don't know. I don't know what that something is. That's kind of the caveat here. What the hell is it? I don't know. Let's rapid fire again. This is something that's led to speculation about DLC potentially getting announced for Mario Kart. 2 voice actors of characters not in Mario Kart World are spotted in DK Bonanza's credits. Warning, a little bit of spoiler from the DK Bonanza credits, but we're talking about the voice actors for Void Kong and King K. Rool. I know, little spoiler there. The point is those voice actors are listed on Mario Kart World. That does not mean that they're not voicing something else in that game that has nothing to do with that, but that does lead to some speculation. Again, let's get back to the rumor side of things. I posted this about 3 weeks ago here. Rumor Mario Galaxy 2 Remaster coming for the 40th. And this rumor actually comes from Special Nick. I've heard we might be getting a Galaxy 2 Remaster. Now, that might not happen in this direct. That could obviously be saved for, well, the September direct, you know, Mario's 40th. That's when I sort of think if there is anything to this, we would hear about it. But it's just worth bringing up. And this is the one that it could be the big holiday game. Rumor, Luigi's Mansion 4 teased for Nintendo Switch 2. So an insider recently hinted at the release of Luigi's Mansion 4 on Switch 2. While the next entry in the Luigi's Mansion series has not been officially announced by Nintendo yet, previous reports have indicated that the title is likely in development. And this new rumor could be exciting for fans. So that's really exciting. This comes from Nash Weedle. Leaker Nash Weedle hinted that Luigi's Mansion 4 will be wild when it releases for the recently launched Nintendo Switch 2. Weedle didn't say much about the potentially upcoming title, but it was enough to excite gamers, and here you go. Look, I obviously don't know if Luigi's Mansion 4 is coming, but I will say that it definitely would be an exciting game for me this holiday. It also would probably fall within the 40th anniversary of Super Mario, and guess what? He is a Super Mario brother, so that would make sense to have one of his games come out. And Luigi's Mansion does incredible on Switch, and I think it'll do incredible here as well, and be maybe a nice little showcase visually. Nash Weedle wasn't done though with rumors. Leak Express, this one's quite recent, back on July 21st. A Yoshi game is coming to Switch 2, codenamed Sunny, and it will use Unreal Engine again. The first clue suggests its in development began in mid to last year, but based on material that was reportedly covered. As soon as I have more details, I'll let you know. We all know about Woolly World being teased by Nintendo accidentally, but this could be a new Yoshi game. So yeah, I don't get that excited for Yoshi games, but there you go. That is a possibility. Nash Weedle's at it again. A multiplayer mode for Pikmin is being developed, much more complete and complex than what's seen in Pikmin 4. It will likely be an addition to the highly probable Nintendo Switch 2 edition. We'll be able to play online via game chat. That's right. He is the source of a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition. Gotta note that could end up getting announced, and he's saying a multiplayer mode that's pretty in-depth could be included there. Now, next up, we got to get to another partner that Nintendo works with, Camelot Software, in the late stages of development work. This was based on a hiring post and all of that. The regional localization stuff has began. Now, we all know Camelot Software. They do Golden Sun, hence you're seeing the tease here, but they're also known for Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, right? I think it's probably going to be Mario Tennis because they did one at the beginning of the Switch gen. They do one every single generation. They didn't even skip the Wii U, even though we can kind of pretend that one didn't exist. That being said, obviously we all hope it's Golden Sun. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, Game Freak's upcoming action RPG looks awesome, but it says don't expect it on a Switch 2 yet. But again, you know, in a post-apocalyptic Japan, you know, they talk about all this stuff, this game. People were actually like, oh, look, Game Freak can make stuff. Nintendo's holding them back. That's not really how game development works. That being said, they're also working with another studio on this, so it's not just Game Freak. That kind of gets lost in the fray. But this one was initially focused on a partnership between Game Freak and Private Division. The latest reveal has a new studio, Fictions, on publishing duties, presumed to be the team built by former Annapurna Interactive staff. All looks impressive. So yeah, this is a game that some people are expecting to come over because Game Freak obviously works closely with Nintendo. In fact, Nintendo actually has a partial ownership stake in Game Freak. So whether or not that leads to anything, I don't know. Then, if you want to talk about something that feels a little bit more tangible, but could get announced or teased now, might not come out this year though, is Claire Obscure Expedition 33 developer. They're open to a Switch 2 port. They said, yeah, it's definitely something that could be interesting. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is one of the most refreshing original RPGs in years. This is based on their review. Basically, we know this is the front runner for Game of the Year, but they were asked specifically about Switch 2, and it's definitely something that could be interesting. So yeah, they are leaning towards bringing this game to Switch 2. They have a lot of opportunities, of course, a lot of demand for where this game should go for platforms it's not on. Switch 2 seems like an obvious fit to me. Now, Eliza P developer was rewarded with Switch 2 console bonuses. Kind of crazy, right? Liza P feels like a result of the developer having already taken multiple stabs at the Souls genre. That's really cool from a review. But as you see here, look, they were gifted by the publisher a bunch of Switch 2 consoles. Does that mean Liza P is coming to Switch 2? Well, we'll have to wait and see. We're not done yet, because how about Arc System Works? You know, the Guilty Gear Strive game coming. New game codename, Watari. Target release date, November 25th. Unreal Engine 5.4. Platform Switch 2. There you go. Just more leaks out there. There's so much of these leaks and rumors. It's kind of crazy. This one here also has some good teeth because this comes from the ESRB. Assassin's Creed Shadows, Switch 2, rating spotted online. In fact, maybe it's not the ESRB. Maybe it was Peggy. I'm trying to remember last time I covered the story. Yuz Guillemot has hinted at Assassin's Creed Shadows as well coming to Switch 2. But originally we saw the Peggy rating here and then included Switch 2 on the Peggy rating. So there you go. That was, we don't have like two different things really heavily hinting Shadows is going to be probably in this direct. So pay attention to that. GameStop seemingly leaks a new Nintendo Switch 2 game as well. And that is Crimson Desert. It was listed on their website for a brief moment as coming to Switch 2. I actually saw Crimson Desert at PAX East. I got to play it, in fact, and it was pretty fun. I could see it working on Switch 2, so we'll have to wait and see on that front. Oh my gosh, we're not done. The rumors just keep coming. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero was rated for Nintendo Switch 2, and this is an article over on Video Game Chronicles. So there you go. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. That might make people excited. All these games, by the way, none of them have been announced for Switch 2, despite even getting rated. How about this one? Red Dead Redemption 2 may be heading to Switch 2 per a report. So, YouTube creator Nate the Hate, it's funny hearing him called a YouTuber, but he does make YouTube content, so I guess it fits. He was the first to report that Switch 2's Red Dead Redemption 2 port will arrive alongside an update that improves the game on Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5. Red Dead Redemption 2 has previously been playable on both consoles through backwards compatibility. Nate the Hate suggests Red Dead Redemption 2 hit Switch 2 and the other consoles late this summer or in the fall. Last month, Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick told investors he's a big believer in Switch 2, but he stopped short of confirming any plans to bring Rockstar's games to the system. Rockstar previously brought Red Dead Redemption to PS4. There have been previous reports about a potential remaster of Grand Theft Auto 4, yada yada. So yeah, Nate the Hate, pretty reliable usually. He's saying Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming along to other platforms later this year. Next up, we get to our Microsoft slate. Tango Gameworks survives, reviving Hi-Fi Rush on Switch Dream. This was an old rumor about Hi-Fi Rush potentially coming to Switch and or Switch 2. Remember, a Direct can have Switch announcements as well. And with Crafton bringing back stuff related to this, it's entirely possible the Hi-Fi Rush is back on and coming to Nintendo Switch, or maybe even Switch 2 with the Switch 2 edition. Next up, hop back to Nash Weedle because we're talking about Xbox stuff. He put this Leak Express out there a long time. Talked about Sea of Thieves coming to Switch 2, Psychonauts 2, Doom the Dark Ages, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Ninja Gaiden 4, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, Call of Duty 6, and Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. These are just a list of games he says are all coming to Switch 2, so we'll have to wait and see on that front. But we actually have some evidence for Sea of Thieves that now back his potential rumor. Sea of Thieves obviously doing a play off of Donkey Kong, saying, "Oh, banana." And yeah, that's a Donkey Kong reference. I don't know what this guy's all mad about down here, but either way, he made it into the video. Congratulations for getting an F-bomb in my video. Next up, Xbox will reportedly announce more game ports for other platforms soon, including the Nintendo Switch 2. So Xbox has already voiced its support for Switch 2, and according to a new report by the Game Business this week, we could be finding out very more soon, with rumors about a Nintendo Direct already doing the rounds online. Veteran video game journalist Christopher Dring has now added to the buzz, claiming Xbox is expected to announce more game ports for other platforms, including Switch 2, in the quote-unquote coming weeks. This would follow Activision's recent release of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 on new Switch hardware. And hey, that's a publisher known for helping with series like Call of Duty. Well, it's not known what exactly we might be seeing on Switch 2 from Xbox. There's already been a lot of rumors. Of course, Grounded 2, yada yada. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But you can see lots of Xbox games are rumored, and thus there could be something there. This is also something that I think is fairly safe, although it might not be in a Direct. A revamped version of Plants vs. Zombies is coming, and the announcement could be fairly soon, and it's supposed to be coming to Switch. Again, it is not announced yet. It does seem to be something happening, so we want to kind of keep this in mind. And look, we have to also talk about this one here. This one happening with PlayStation 5. Obviously, we know about the job listing. Recently reported out on this, about this job listing where they're bringing more games over to Switch, and Switch 2 and Xbox. PlayStation is. Obviously, we already have some games. There could be more, like Helldivers 2. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's all speculation on what additional games could be coming, and none of that might be here, but some of it could be. And last but not least, let's hop back to a Nintendo game to kind of round this out. This one is an old one, but a worthy one to bring up since it hasn't happened yet, and the leaker for this said it's happening this year. Kirby Planet Robobot will indeed come to Switch, it's claimed. It hasn't been announced yet. This could even be a shadow drop, potentially. And this comes from Nate the Hate. Planet Robobot will find its way to Switch, and he's talked about in his podcast and other places that this game is going to release this year. So I might have missed some rumors and stuff in there. I don't know. There's so many to go over, and I want to make sure I give a huge shout out here at the end to Andres Restart. He actually got this video out before I did, so he was able to gather a lot of the links that I needed for this stuff, so I didn't have to go through all my old videos. So I do appreciate him saving me some time on that, especially here on a weekend. So shout out to friend of the channel, Andres Restart. You should go watch his video because his goes a little bit more in depth on each of these games. It shows game footage of it all, and I'm just going through the sources and just listing things because we're already almost at 20 minutes, and that was without me actually going in depth on any of these rumors. Why? Because I've already had in-depth conversations on all of these rumors in prior videos. This was a nice little roundup for you. So now we get to the big one. Will there be a Direct this week? Obviously, I have already put my statement out there. I fully believe there is a Nintendo Direct this week. And what I want to just note here at the end is it's kind of funny as I read the comments, and some people say, well, if you say there's a Direct every week like you do, Prime, of course you're going to be right once in a while, like a broken clock. I don't actually say a Direct's going to happen every week. If I have a really clear history, even in my titles, when I say a Direct is happening or will happen on X week, I've only done that like 5 times, and all 5 times the Direct has happened. It's very rare that I do that. All the other Direct stuff you see in between always says the word rumor or happening soon, question mark, stuff like that, because it's just talking about rumors that I don't have like 1,000% faith in to go forward and make some sort of statement like that. But like all the other times that I have said a Direct will happen this week, I clearly have some faith here, because I understand that when you say that, if it doesn't happen, you get burned. It can really hurt your reputation or hurt your channel. Of course, if you listen to the internet, I have no reputation to hurt anymore anyways, because it's already in the shitter. So, take that for what you will. Gotcha, huh? Gotcha. Who gives a shit if I'm right or not, right? Who gives a shit? My reputation already sucks, doesn't it? This is so stupid. The internet's a funny place. It really is. It doesn't matter what the facts are. It just matters what you think the facts are. So, all right, guys, your #1 clickbaiter, Nintendo Prime, is signing out.